The soft hum of the television filled the cozy living room as you rested your head against Katsuki Bakugo's broad chest. His strong arms were wrapped around you protectively, and the warmth of his body made you feel safe. Your little girl, Lucy, sat cross-legged on the floor in front of the couch, her bright eyes glued to the cartoon playing on the screen. Life had been good for the both of you, from the chaos of your younger years as pro-heroes to the stable, fulfilling lives you'd built together. You couldn't ask for more. Katsuki had mellowed out. Well, slightly. He was still loud and brash and stubborn as hell, but he'd also grown into a loving husband and a doting father. "Mommy, Daddy," Lucy chirped, turning around to face you both. Her golden hair, so much like her father's, bounced with her movements. Her big, curious eyes sparkled with mischief. You smiled lazily, running a hand through Bakugo's ash blonde hair. "What is it, sweetheart?" Lucy tilted her head. "Can I have a sibling?" The question made you freeze. You sat up straight, glancing down at your daughter, and meanwhile Katsuki's lips quirked into a smirk. And before you could already answer, you could feel that smug comment forming in his tongue. "No," you blurted out quickly, trying to cut off the conversation before it could even spiral. "No, absolutely not." Katsuki snorted, clearly amused by your flushed response. "Why not?" he drawled out, his hand sliding up to rest against your hip. "I think it's a great idea." You whipped around to glare at him, your face heating. "Katsuki, Daddy thinks it's a good idea." Lucy clapped her hands, bouncing on the spot. "Lucy," you began, trying to sound firm, but failing miserably, against the combined forces of your daughter's excitement and your husband's insufferable grin. "Having a new sibling isn't like asking for a new toy. It's a big responsibility." Yeah, Katsuki interrupted, waving a dismissive hand. His crimson eyes gleamed with mischief as he leaned back against the couch, pulling you closer. "But she's got a point. You're an amazing mom, and I'm a damn good dad. Why not give her a little brother or sister?" Your jaw dropped. You were too flustered to even form a coherent sentence. "Oh, come on, woman," Katsuki teased, his voice dropping to a low rumble. His lips brushed against your ears, he added, "You know you liked making Lucy." Your face turned beet red. "Katsuki!" you hissed out through gritted teeth, smacking his chest. He chuckled, clearly enjoying your reaction. Lucy, oblivious to the tension between her parents, continued to chatter excitedly about all the things she'd do with a baby sibling. "Stop encouraging her," you muttered, shooting Katsuki another glare. "Why? She's got good taste." His smirk widened. "And she's not wrong. We'd make another cute kid." "You're impossible," you grumbled, burying your face in your hands. Katsuki didn't seem fazed in the slightest. If anything, your embarrassment seemed to only fuel his determination. "You're just mad because you know I'm right," he taunted, his hand trailing down your back in a way that made your heart race. "Admit it. Babe, you want another kid too." You peeked at him from between your fingers, still flustered but unable to deny the warmth in your chest at his words. He wasn't wrong. I mean, you'd always wanted a big family, but the thought of going through another chaos with a pregnancy and raising another baby was just overwhelming to you. And knowing Katsuki, he'd take every opportunity to tease you about it. "Lucy, sweetie," you said, trying to divert the conversation, "why don't you go grab your coloring books? Mommy and Daddy need to talk." "Okay," Lucy chirped back, scrambling to her feet as she ran off to her room, leaving you alone with your husband. The moment she was out of earshot, you turned to your husband, your face still flushed. "What the hell, Katsuki? You can't just say things like that in front of her." He shrugged, unbothered. "Why not? It's the truth." "You're impossible," you muttered, crossing your arms. He just smirked, leaning in closer until his face was just inches from yours. Don't act like you don't want it, babe, he said, his voice low and husky. Let's be real. You know we'd make another badass kid, and you know I'd love every second of making them. Your breath hitched as you shoved at his chest in a weak attempt to create some distance. You're insufferable. Yeah, but you love me. His smirk softened into a genuine smile, and his crimson eyes sparkled with affection. Come on, babe. You're an amazing mom. Lucy's the best thing that ever happened to us. Why not add one more? You bit your lip, torn between your embarrassment and the warmth spreading in your chest. Damn him and his stupid charm. He always knew how to press your buttons in more ways than one. I hate when you're right, you muttered. Kelsey's grin widened. He pulled you into his lap, his hands resting on your waist. So, is that a yes? He asked, his tone teasing but his eyes filled with hope. I didn't say that, you said quickly, through your resolve, but he was already beginning to crumble. He leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to your neck that sent shivers down your spine. Say the word, babe, he murmured, his lips making your skin flush as he brushed them against it. And I'll make it happen. Your heart raced, and you couldn't help but laugh despite yourself. You're unbelievable. Damn right I am, he replied smugly. Now what do you say? Let's give our little girl what she wants. Before you could even respond, Lucy came barreling back into the room, her coloring books clutched in her hand. I'm back, she announced, plopping down on the floor and spraying out her supplies. You shot Kotsky a warning glare, silently telling him to behave. He just smirked, clearly unrepented. Mommy and Daddy would about it, you said, ruffling Lucy's hair. Yay! She cheered, completely satisfied with your answer. As you settled back against Kotsky's chest, you felt that same just feeling in your chest as you felt his arms wrap around you, his lips brushing against your temple. We'll talk about it later, he whispered, his voice filled with promise. You sighed, already knowing you were gonna lose this battle. But as you looked at Lucy's happy face, you felt Kotsky's warmth spread around you. You couldn't bring yourself to mind. The bedroom was bathed with soft glow of moonlight, filtering through the curtains as you laid nestled under the covers. Kotsky's body heat radiating against your back as his arms enveloped you. The sigh was contently coming through your lips at the piece, but it was short-lived when his lips began to brush down your neck, sending shivers down your spine. Kotsky Bakugo, you murmured, half scolding, half encouraging his lips as they continued to travel to a sensitive spot just below your ear. He hummed. His voice was low and teasing. His hands slid around your waist, pulling you flush against him. That's the problem, woman. You're my wife, aren't you? You opened your mouth to retort, but it turned into a sharp gasp as his teeth nipped playfully at your skin. He was relentless, his warm breath, soft kisses melting your resolve like butter. Lucy's in the next room, you whispered, though you weren't even sure if that was a protest or a reminder. Kotsky chuckled, his lips gazing your jaw as he murmured, She's asleep, babe, relax. His hands wandered lower, his touch igniting a familiar heat in your belly. He kissed along your collarbones, his movements deliberate and full of purpose. Let's give her what she wants, he whispered, his voice laced with a mix of teasing and uncertainty. Kotsky, your breath hitched as he silenced you with another kiss. All the thoughts of protest quickly faded away. The next morning, the sound of tiny feet pounding against the floor pulled you from your peaceful slumber. You blinked groggily, only to be met with Lucy's bouncing on the edge of the bed, her golden hair a wild mess as it lit up her face with excitement. Mommy, Daddy, did you get me a baby brother yet? She asked. Her voice was loud and eager. You groaned, burying your face in your pillow as Kotsky let out a low chuckle beside you. Lucy, you murmured, lifting up your head just enough to glare at your little girl. "What?" she asked innocently, tilting her head. "You said you'd think about it. Did you?" Katsuki turned on his back, stretching lazily before pulling Lucy into his arms. "Well, kid," he said with a smirk, "we're working on it." "Katsuki!" he scolded, sitting up and smacking him again. "What?" he replied, looking far too smug for his own good. "She asked." Lucy giggled, clearly amused by the exchange between her parents. "Does that mean yes?" she asked, looking at between the two of you with wide, hopeful eyes. You sighed, pinching the bridge of your nose. "It means Mommy needs coffee before she deals with this conversation." Katsuki chuckled again, pulling both you and Lucy into his arms, kissing the top of your head. "Come on, babe, you can't say no to that face." You rolled your eyes, but you couldn't suppress a small smile that tugged at your lips. "Whatever, but if she starts screaming again, you're handling it." "Deal," he agreed, his grin widening. Later in the morning, the smell of sizzling bacon and fresh pancakes filled the air as Katsuki worked his magic in the kitchen. He stood at the stove, effortlessly flipping the pancakes while humming softly to himself. You leaned against the counter, sipping your coffee and watching him with a mix of admiration and amusement. Lucy, on the other hand, was much less patient. She sat at the table, kicking her legs and chanting, "Baby brother, baby brother, baby brother," over and over and over again. "Lucy, enough," you said, trying to sound firm, clearly failing. "She's got determination," Katsuki said, glancing over his shoulder. "I know where she gets that from." You shot him with glare. "I can't imagine." He shrugged, clearly unbothered. "Hey, at least she's got goals. Better than sitting around doing nothing." "Her goal is driving me insane," you muttered through a smile, but your lips twitched. "Mommy!" Lucy called out, her voice cutting through your thoughts. "When will my baby brother be here?" "Lucy, these things take time," you groan out, rubbing your temples. "Yeah," Katsuki added, setting a plate of pancakes down on the table before ruffling Lucy's hair. "You gotta be patient, Squirt. You can't rush perfection." Lucy pouted, but then seemed to accept the answer for now. She dug into her pancakes, her enthusiasm contagious as she chatted away about all the things she'd teach her future sibling. You caught Katsuki's eyes across the room. He gave you a sly wink to spot your exasperation. You couldn't help but smile. Life with Katsuki was full of surprises. You couldn't really have it another way. But the soft glow of the early morning sun filtered through the curtains. It was a new morning. You laid in the tangled sheets, your breathing was still unsteady from the intensity of the moment. Katsuki's heavy, warm body was draped over you, his chest rising and falling in deep breaths. He was still trying to catch his breath after your morning fun. His hand rested idly on your waist, his thumb tracing circles along your skin. "You're crazy, you know that," you whispered with a playful smile, your fingers combing through his messy blonde hair. Katsuki chuckled, his lips brushing against her neck as he nuzzled into the crook of your shoulder. "I told you you'd want more, babe," he murmured, his voice still thick with the after effects of your time together. You laughed softly and shook your head. "You're insufferable." "Yeah, but you love me." He leaned up, planting a kiss on your forehead. "I gotta go, though. Got work. Heroes don't get a day off," he said, pulling away. You groaned softly, reluctant to let him leave the warm bed, especially after the moment you just shared together. "Can't you just take the day off?" you murmured, still half asleep. "I wish," he sighed, pushing himself up. "But Judy calls. Gotta get this job done." He flashed you a cocky smile before he stood up. His toned body barely clothed with his uniform. "It'll be fun taking care of Lucy, yeah?" he asked. You rolled over on your side, watching him get dressed. "I'm sure I'll be fine without you. Go save the world or whatever," you teased. He snorted into your smirk and a wink. "Stay out of trouble, babe." He leaned over to kiss you once more. It was quick, but full of affection. "Love you." "Love you too," you murmured, watching him walk out the door. It wasn't long after he left that you found yourself alone in the quiet house. The usual morning calm settling around you, you started your day with a few simple tasks. Making a cup of coffee, making sure Lucy was fed and ready for the day. But You stood in the bathroom. A strange feeling tugged at you. It was like an instinct you couldn't ignore. Your fingers hovered over the pregnancy test box that you've hidden in the back of the cupboard a few days ago. Maybe it was just a funny feeling. Maybe, but something had changed. After a few moments of quiet anticipation, you glanced in at the test. Positive. You sit there in stunned silence, a few moments before staring at the test in disbelief. Your heart was beating faster as the reality began to set in. Oh shit.